Lifeline began as a work of Wesley Mission in 1963, when our superintendent, the Reverend Alan Walker, saw a change in popular culture. The social revolution of the 60s, driven by demands for greater individual freedom, led to increased isolation for many individuals. Changes to the social conventions which upheld our community meant some people now had nowhere to turn. 3 days after receiving a call from an anonymous person who gave the name of Roy, Alan was contacted by the police saying that Roy had taken his life. Determined not to let loneliness, isolation and anxiety to be the cause of other deaths, Alan called on church members, 150 volunteers and Wesley Mission staff and began Lifeline. Over 100 calls for help were answered on that first day, the first only 1 minute after the lines were opened. Lifeline was listed as an emergency helpline in the telephone directory and featured in Time magazine, which propelled the ministry onto an international platform. Today, Lifeline exists in 16 countries around the world. In Australia, there are 40 Lifeline call centres with 3,500 volunteers answering over 1 million calls each year on a centralised number, 13 11 14.
Wesley Mission looks after Lifeline Sydney and Sutherland. So we have one site in the Sydney CBD and we have another site out at Sylvania. So we have a lot of volunteers who come into Sydney City. We probably have about 200 and we probably have about another 85 volunteers out at the Sylvania site.
I've always had a heart for helping people and I thought, why not sign up to Lifeline? Basically anyone in need or anyone in crisis can reach out to Lifeline.
I've been a Lifeline volunteer for 10 years now. I started as a volunteer for Lifeline because I felt like I wanted to contribute back into society and I wanted to do some volunteering, and their training was excellent. People do feel lonely, and the more ways there are to communicate, I think the more lonely people feel. And that's why I think it's such an essential service. It is a crisis line, so there are times when people are in a crisis, they're feeling suicidal, they may have suicidal thoughts, and you're there for them, but it's also there for people that just want to be listened to.
To become a Lifeline crisis supporter, you can come from any age range or background. It doesn't really matter because when you come on board, you will learn the skills to be on the phones. You will go through a nationally accredited training program, so you'll be equipped to handle whatever there is that comes on the phone. The way that society has developed places a greater need for people to connect with someone who will listen and to alleviate that sense of being alone, that sense of isolation. Lifeline really provides a backstop for people when doctors are not there, when psychologists are not there, when counsellors are not there. Lifeline is always there.